Good morning, students. In my last lecture, we discussed socket programming, that is one-way communication, how a client can send a message to client and the server receives that and it prints that on the screen. So for that, we have seen that we require the server socket class and then we need the socket class objects because we need to establish the connection between the client and the server, and then the communication happens, and once we are done with it we have to close the connection. And also we need the output stream and input stream objects for the communication between the server and the client. So yesterday we have seen all the theoretical part of it, and we also saw how we can write the program, Java code, to establish the connection and how to interact, how to make the communication happen between server and the client. So today we will see the implementation part of it. We will create the server class and the client class, and then we shall see how the communication happens between the client and the server. So let's begin with that. First we shall create the client. So for that I will just create a new package first. That is, let me name it as socket examples. Fine. So in my socket examples package, I will create a class that is socket client. I will name it as socket client, and it will have the main method. So let me check this. That is public static void main. Yes. Here we get the socket client, and we will remove all the unwanted things from here. So let me remove the comment also from this. So what we require at the client side. So we need to have socket at both the ends for connecting the client and the server. So first we will create the object of the socket class, and let me call the object as S, and this is how we create the objects. So new socket. So whenever we create the object of the socket class at the client side, as we discussed, we need to know two things. That is, client should know the IP address of the server and the port number on which the server application is listening to. So here I am using the same machine, that is for client as well as for the server. So the IP address, I am writing it as localhost because both my client and server applications reside on the same system. And then we need to write the port number over here. So port number, we should make sure that this is not being used by any other application. So let me consider that 8084 is the port number on which the server application is listening to. So I have taken this. So remember that when we write the server code, we should use the same port number over there also. And once we create this, okay, before creating this, let me put a message over here so that when we run this code, we will be able to see the proper result there. System.out.println, this is for our purpose, println. So here we'll just put a message that server is started. Sorry, we are writing the client side, right? So we are writing at the client side. So at the client side, we do not require this. We have to Okay. See, why we are getting this error message over here is this can throw an exception. So we will handle that by using the keyword throws exception. Throws exception. So socket S equals to new socket Yes, it is giving an error because we need to import the package. So the socket class is available in the net package, that is java.net package. So we need to import that. So yesterday we discussed that if at all we are creating sockets and we are using server socket or socket classes and the methods, we need to import those packages over there. So I have imported that. So at the client side, we have created a socket. So this is required to establish the connection with the server, right? So what is the next thing? Here we need to see the problem here is we are trying to send a message to the server from the client side, right? For that I will take a string and let me initialize this with let's say welcome. So I want to send this welcome message to the server, and then how to do that? See, as we discussed, socket has two streams associated with it. One is input stream and output stream. So since here client wants to send a message, so it has to create an output stream for the socket. So it has to get the output stream over here. So what is that? Yes dot get output stream, right? So where do we need to pass this? We need to have the output stream, isn't it? We need to socket output stream to the output stream so that it goes to the input stream at the server side, right? So for that I will be using the wrapper class over here, that is output stream writer, and let me call the object name as OS equals to new output stream writer, and here we need to pass the socket's output stream as the parameter over here. That means yes. And what for we are getting the error over here? The error is because we need to import the package, that is import java.io. Let me call it as star over here so that we get all the classes over here. So once we have created this output stream, we can use the write method to write this string to the output stream. So what is the string that we want to write at the we want to send it to the server? So that is present in the str variable. Sorry, so here we need to pass this str, and there is one extra parenthesis, so let me remove that. Okay, and then we need to close, right? So we need to close this. We can do it using the close method. So we have written the code at the client side now, and now we have to create the socket at the server side. So let me create one more class and let's call it as socket server. So socket server, and here do we require the main method, and let's use this. Yes, this is at the server side. Fine. So now let me remove these comments and all. So this is okay. What we require at the server side. So we discussed that at the server side, to create a socket for the client, we need the server socket. So server socket is responsible for accepting the request from the client, and accordingly it has to create socket for that specific request. So if there are 20 client requests coming, then it has to create 20 client sockets. So who will do that? That will be done by the server socket. So first we have to create the server socket instance, and let me call this as SS. Server socket SS equals to new server socket, new server socket, and here we need to mention the port number on which this server is listening to, right? So what is the port number that we have mentioned here? 8084. So let me take it as 8084 over here, and it also throws an exception, and also we need to import the package net import java.net. Okay, and then it throws an exception, so I will write throws exception. So we need to, okay, new server socket. It has to be new server socket. Okay. So before we do this, let me print that message which we wanted to print earlier. That is system.out.println. Here server started. Server started. Okay, so this is the message. Once we run this code, we will be getting this message on the screen. So after creating server socket, what is the next thing? Server socket, it has to wait for the client request, right? So how to do that? How it will be doing that? So there is a method that we discussed yesterday, that is accept method, using which, so that is ss.accept. So this is a method using which server socket will accept the client request and will create a socket for that particular client. That means we have to create a socket object. Let me call it as socket S equals to ss.accept, and let me terminate this with a semicolon. So what we have done so far, we have created the server socket, and after creating this, server has to wait for the client request, and that is done by accept. That means accept method call will take the request from the client, and after taking the request, it has to create a socket for that particular client, right? So that is done using this socket S. Fine. So before this, let me print a message. Server is waiting for client request, so that when we run the code, we get the output properly displayed on the screen, and we can make out whether our code is properly working or no. So the message will be server is waiting for client request. Server is waiting for client request. So okay, and we need to terminate this. So what next? Once it creates a socket for that specific client. That means the client is connected with the server now. So let's put that message also, system.out.println, and here we will write client connected. Client connected. So we have established connection between server and the client now. So what next? Once the connection is established, so the client will send the message, that is welcome message. So we have seen that at the client side we are planning to send this welcome message, so we used sockets output stream. So where this will go when it writes, where it will go? It will go to the input stream at the server side. So server will be accepting that through the socket. That means we need to get the input stream of the socket. So how to do that? So there is a method called as get input stream, that is get input stream. Fine. So what is this S? S is the socket object, right? That socket we have to create the input stream to accept the data coming from the client. Fine. Then we need the input stream for this, right? We have to associate this with the input stream. And then we need the buffered reader class. Yesterday we have discussed why do we need buffered reader class, right? So before doing all this, let me create this buffered reader br equals to new buffered reader, and here you can directly pass that input stream reader, or else you can even create an object of the input stream reader and then you can pass that object over here, but here I will club everything. So new input stream, new input stream. So here you can see that here we wrote output stream writer, here it has to be input stream reader, input stream reader, and here we can pass the sockets input stream as a parameter. So let me pass this sockets input stream as a parameter over here and terminate this statement. So since we are using these input stream classes, we need to import IO package, import java.io. Let me import all the classes over here. Okay, it's showing some error. I think I have made some spelling mistake over here. It has to be reader. Yes, we are done with this. And now we have to read that data which is there in this stream. So for that we will use the readline method, which will read the data in the form of string, right? That means we have to store that string in a variable of type string. Let me take it as string str equals to br.readline. So we have read the data from this stream in the form of string, and finally we need to print it on the screen. Fine. So to print it on the screen we will use system.out.println, and then we will write clients. Let me write it as client's data because we have received it from the client. So where is that client's data present? It is there in the str variable. Yes. So these two are our client and the server applications, and we need to run this and check the output to see whether we are able to send the message from the client to the server. So as I mentioned earlier, we need to first run the server code. That means we need to run the server first. So let's run this. So now you can see that server started, server is waiting for client request. Server is already started. And then we need to run the client application, and you can see that we are getting this message over here, client connected and client's data is welcome. So this is the process that we wanted to do. That is, the client wanted to send something to the server. So this is the implementation of one-way communication using the sockets. That is, we have used server socket and the socket at the server side, and we created the socket at the client side, and then after establishing the communication, we created the streams at both the ends. So this is required because the socket will have the input stream and the output stream, and depending on whether you are sending the data or receiving the data, you need to get those streams. And after establishing the communication, that means we have seen that I had written system.out.println statements over there, so that when we executed the server code, it has shown me server started and the server is waiting for the client request. So this happened before that ss.accept statement. Right, after that we executed the client code. Then after creating the client socket, it has shown us the message client connected, and then it has sent the data to the server at the server side. It is printing the data it has received. That is the welcome message that we wanted to pass. So this is one-way communication. What if we want to send from server to the client? Okay, so client is sending something to the server, and after receiving, server wants to respond back to the client. So that is two-way communication. So how to do that? So let me modify the same program to show you how two-way communication can happen over here. So let me modify the same code to demonstrate that. So let's remove these, all the outputs from this. Okay, so go to the server part, because so far we have received the message from the client and we were able to display this. Now, what message we want to send from the server to the client? Let's consider that I want to take the substring of the welcome. That means only first 3 characters have to be sent back to the client. That is the requirement. Correct. So first we will take the substring of that. So how to get the substring of the string? So we have a method substring. So str.substring. So it will give me the substring. We wanted first 3 characters. So let me write it as 0,3. And we should store this substring somewhere, right? So let me take a variable, say short name equals to, okay, short name equals to string.substring. So now we want to send this data to the client. So how to send the data? See, whenever we want to send something, we need to have output stream there, right? That means we need to get the output stream of the socket. So earlier we have got your input stream because we wanted to get the data from the client. So there was an input coming from the client. But now, after getting that, we want to send the substring back to the client. So we need output stream of the socket over here. So we will do that again using the output stream writer wrapper class. Output stream writer, we have to use the writer now. Let me call it as OS equals to new output stream writer, and here we need to pass the socket's output stream. So how to get the socket's output stream? Using the get output stream method, we have to call this using the socket object. So the socket object is yes. So s dot get output stream. Fine. So once we do this, we need to write this. So s dot write, and the variable name is short name. So we need to pass this back to the client, right? So this is at the server side. And now let's see what changes we require here at the client side. At the client side, we need input stream reader over here, because here we need the input to be accepted from the server now. So let's consider buffered reader over here. So buffered reader br equals to new buffered reader, and what is required here? We need the input stream reader over here, right? So new input stream reader, and we need to pass the socket's input stream as a parameter here. So how to get the socket's input stream? S dot get input stream, correct? So now using this br, we can read that. So br dot read line, and we need to store this string somewhere. So I will take a variable string, let's say short name equals to this, and we have to print this, right? What we have got from the server. So let me print it as system.out.println, and here we need to, okay, so just to distinguish between the client side and the server side's messages, I will write it as client colon data from server. So what is the data that we have received is present in the short name variable. Okay. Fine. So we have modified this code. Now let's run this code. So we will first run the server. So server started, and server is waiting for the client request.
Let's run the server code. Okay, server is started. Server is waiting for client request. And now we shall run the client side application. So we'll run the client. So you can see that data from server that is WEL. So what does it mean? So it has taken the substring. We wanted only first three characters. Correct. So the first three characters of this welcome is WEL. So what we have done here actually is the client had sent a message welcome to the server, and the server took the substring. It processed that string and it is able to get the substring, that is only the first three characters of welcome, and then it has sent this back to the client. And at the client side, you can see that here we are trying to print what we have got from the server. So we purposely have used this client just to indicate that from at the client side, we are printing the data that is coming from the server. You can view both the consoles over here. We can select the server console. So this is our server console. Here you can see that we have got the message client connected, and later client's data is welcome. That means the data coming from client is welcome. And if you go to the client console, here you can see that we have got three characters.
So far we have seen how we can use the socket programming. This is connection oriented programming. See, yesterday I told you that there are two types. One is connection oriented and other one is connectionless. So in case of connection oriented, first we establish the connection between the client and the server, and then the communication happens. Because once we establish the connection, the client knows where to send the data, or the server knows to which client it has to send something back, right? What if when we have a connectionless communication to happen? So in case of connectionless, the data will be sent in terms of packets, alright. So the information is divided into packets, and each packet should know the address of the server, where it has to go, to which port it has to go. That means we need two things over here. One is the datagram socket, that is using UDP. We will be implementing this connectionless, that is using datagram socket and datagram packet. So datagram packet should know where it has to send the data. So here every packet should specify the address of the server as well as the port number of that. So let's see how we can implement that. So we shall see how to send data from client machine to server machine and response back from server to client using UDP. So let's close this. You can try out these examples, and then let's create. Okay. I will take a new package over here. And here I will create the classes, that is, we need client and the server here too. So let me write the client code, that is UDP socket programming here. So let me call the class name as UDP client, and we need the main method here too. So okay, so we have got this, and now let's remove these comments over here. So what exactly we need at the client over here? So we need to have a datagram socket first. So we have a class datagram socket ds equals to new datagram socket, new datagram socket, and we need to pass the server name over here, isn't it? We need to pass the no. We need not have to pass the server over here because it is not connection oriented. There is no need to write the server name over here. See, let's not confuse. At the server side, at the client side, we need not have to write the server name because it is connectionless. Only the packet should where the data is going to. So when you create object, no, it is just to create this. Then why are we getting error over here? We need to import the packages over here. That is import java.net.star over here. And it throws an exception. Fine. And then let's see what we want to do here. We want to send a number to the server. Let me say I want to send a number 8, and I want the server to process that. It has to calculate the square of that number and send it back to the client. Let's consider this example. So let me take an integer int I equals to 8. Let me assign this to 8. And then we need to have the datagram packet over here. We need to write the datagram packet because the data that is going to be sent from client to the server will be packed in the packet, right? So we have to write datagram packet. Datagram packet. We have to create the datagram packet. Datagram packet dp equals to new datagram packet, and here we need to pass 4 parameters. That is what data we want to send, what is the length of the data, and what is the IP address of the server, and lastly the port number. So to do that, first we need to get the bytes of this integer which we have already declared over here. So I is of type integer, but when we send that, it has to be in terms of byte array. So first let me convert that into byte array. So byte b equals to first I will convert this I into string, so that we can do it using I plus empty. Okay, and then we have to use the get bytes method. So this will give you the bytes. We get the data in terms of byte, and see, this is the data that we want to send. What else we require? We need the IP address, right? So how to get that? For that we have to use the inet address class. So first we will write that inet address ia equals to inet address dot get localhost. Inet address dot get localhost. So here is the method. So it will give the IP address Okay, it will give the IP address. Datagram packet DP equals to new datagram packet. So here we need to send all that. So before I create a packet, I should know the IP address. So let me place this statement before creating the packet, isn't it? Because we need to pass all those parameters, right? So what all parameters we need to pass? We have to pass the data, so that data is present in B, and then we need to pass the length, that is data length. So that we can get using B dot length, and then we need to pass the inet, that IP address, so that is there in I variable, and then we need to pass the port number. So let me take the port number as A222, something like this, right? So here we have created a packet now, and then we need to send this packet, right? So how to send this packet? Using the socket object. So DS is the datagram socket. What we need to send? We need to send the packet. So use the send method and pass the DP object over here. Correct? So after this, we need to get something back from the server. So that part we can see later. Let me write the server code. So let's create another class. So this is going to be UDP server, and here also we need the main method. Fine. And at the UDP server, we have to create the datagram socket. That is, we need again datagram socket over here. So that is datagram socket. Let me call it as DS equals to new datagram socket. New datagram socket. See here at the server side, we should mention the port number. Okay, so at the client side, we did not do that. Right? When we created this datagram socket, we did not mention the port number. But here when you are writing at the server side, we need to mention the port number. So the port number, I will take it as to A222. Fine. So here also we need to import the package, import java.net.star, and then we need to take care of the exception, throws exception, right? So now we have created datagram socket at the server side, and whatever is sent from the client should be received over here, right? So to receive that, see what we are getting is in terms of bytes. So let me create the byte array of size, let's say 1024, byte 1024. Fine. So we have created this, and then we need to have the packet over here. See, why do we need that packet? We need that datagram packet to receive that. So to create datagram packet, we have to use datagram packet. Okay, datagram packet, again take DP equals to new datagram packet, and here when you are receiving, you have to write only two things. One is where you want to store that is B1, and B1 dot length. Correct? And now we need to receive that using the socket. So ds dot receive which packet? That is packet TP, and terminate this. So why we are getting error here is, okay, I had not used equals to sign there. So ds dot receive spelling mistake. Okay. So what we have written is, at the client side, the client is sending a number which is in terms of bytes, and server is going to accept that, and server has to process this number. We are supposed to find the square of the number that is passed by the client. So I have written the half of the code. In the next class, we shall see, after accepting that number from the client, how the server will process that number to find the square of that number and send the results back to the client. So we have to write the next part of this. So this part will work only for the client sending a number to the server, and server can print it. So this is just